Hello, dear friends. Come on in and sit down with me for a while. I want to tell you a story that's been sitting close to my heart for some time now. It's not a fairy tale. It's not one of those flashy Hollywood romances. It's the kind of story that happens in real kitchens, on quiet porches, and in gardens where people go to heal. Her name is Margaret. Most folks just call her Maggie. She turned 68 the year everything changed. She and David had been married 42 years. 42. Can you imagine? They met back in 1961 at a church picnic in Ohio. She was wearing a yellow sundress her mother sewed for her, and he was the tall boy who couldn't stop smiling every time she laughed. They raised 2 daughters, buried both their parents, moved houses 3 times, and still held hands every single night before they fell asleep. David used to say, "Maggie, as long as I've got you, the rest of the world can keep its troubles." And she believed him. Then one Tuesday morning in the spring of 2019, he didn't wake up. Just like that. Heart attack, the doctor said. Quick. Merciful, they called it. But for Maggie, it wasn't merciful at all. The house went so quiet you could hear the clock ticking in the hallway. She kept making coffee for 2 out of habit. She'd pour his cup, set it on the table, and then just stare at it until it went cold. Some mornings she'd talk to him anyway. Tell him about the garden, about the grandkids, about how the price of bread went up again. She said it made the emptiness feel a little smaller. For the first year, she barely left the house. Her daughters worried. The neighbors brought casseroles. The pastor came by every Sunday. Maggie smiled politely, thanked everyone, and then went back to her chair by the window and watched the world go on without her. She told me later, "I thought that was it. I thought my story was finished. I had my great love. What more could there be?" 2 more years passed. The grief didn't leave, but it changed shape. It became quieter. Like an old friend who sits beside you without saying much. She started going back to the community garden, the same one she and David had volunteered at for 20 years. She said the dirt under her fingers felt like the only thing that still made sense. That's where she met Robert. He was 71. Lost his wife Eleanor 5 years earlier to cancer. He had that same gentle, tired look in his eyes that Maggie recognized immediately. The look of someone who knows exactly how heavy a quiet house can feel. At first, they barely spoke. Just good morning and nice tomatoes this year. He grew the biggest heirloom tomatoes you ever saw, and she grew the prettiest roses. They'd nod at each other across the rows and keep working. Then one afternoon it started to rain. One of those soft summer rains that smells like earth and memory. Everyone ran for the little shelter by the tool shed except Maggie and Robert. They just stood there, getting wet, laughing at themselves. He looked at her and said, real soft, "You know, my Eleanor loved the rain too." And Maggie answered almost without thinking, "So did my David." That was the first real sentence they ever said to each other. After that, things moved slow, real slow. The way love moves when you're older and you've already had your heart broken once. They started walking together after gardening. 10 minutes the first week and 20 the next. Pretty soon they were sitting on the same bench every Thursday, sharing a thermos of coffee she brought from home. He never rushed her. He never tried to fix her sadness. He just listened, and when she talked about David, about how he used to whistle while he shaved, or how he always saved her the last piece of pie, Robert would nod and say, "Sounds like a good man. No jealousy, no competition, just respect." One day she asked him, "Does it ever stop hurting?" He thought for a long time, looked at the clouds and answered, "No, but it changes. It gets kinder, like the hurt learns to sit beside the love instead of pushing it out." Maggie said that sentence stayed with her for weeks. Little by little, the walks got longer. They started meeting for lunch at the little diner on Main Street, the one with the red booths that haven't changed since the 1970s. They'd order the same thing every time: grilled cheese and tomato soup. Comfort food, you know. Robert told her stories about Eleanor, how she used to dance in the kitchen when their favorite song came on the radio. Maggie told him about the time David drove 4 hours in a snowstorm just to bring her the right medicine when she was sick. They swapped memories like people swap old photographs, carefully, gently, with a kind of sacred respect. And somewhere along the way, without either of them planning it, something new started growing. Not the wild, breathless love of their 20s. Something quieter, deeper. The kind of love that doesn't need fireworks because it already knows how short the time is. One evening, right before sunset, they were sitting on that same garden bench. The sky was all pink and gold. The kind of sky that makes you feel small and grateful at the same time. Robert reached over and took her hand. First time he'd ever done that. His hand was warm, a little rough, from years of working with tools and dirt. He said, almost whispering, "Maggie, I never thought I'd feel this again, but being here with you, it feels like coming home. Not replacing what I had, just finding a new home for this old heart." She cried. Not loud, dramatic tears, just quiet ones that rolled down her cheeks and landed on their joined hands. She told him, "I thought my heart was closed for business, but maybe there's still a little room left." 3 years after she buried David, at the age of 71, Maggie opened her heart again. Now, 4 years later, they're still together. They don't travel the world or go dancing till midnight. They do the small, beautiful things. They sit on the porch swing and watch the birds. They cook Sunday dinner together. Nothing fancy, just meatloaf and mashed potatoes, the way their mothers used to make. They hold hands during the evening news. When one of them has a bad arthritis day, the other brings the heating pad and sits quietly until it passes. Maggie says the love feels different now. It's not about proving anything anymore. It's not about being young and perfect. It's about showing up every single day, even when you're tired, even when you're grumpy, even when the world feels heavy. You just show up for each other. She told me once with that soft smile of hers. At our age, love isn't loud. It's steady. It's the sound of someone breathing beside you at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. It's knowing that if you reach out in the dark, there'll be a hand waiting for yours. Friends, I wanted to tell you Maggie's story today because I know some of you are watching this and you're carrying the same kind of quiet ache she once carried. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe the house feels too big now. Maybe you've told yourself the part of my life is over. I want you to hear me when I say this. And I'm saying it like I'm sitting right there with you on your couch. Your story is not finished. Your heart is not too old. Your best chapters might still be waiting in the most ordinary places. A community garden, a church pew, a grocery store aisle, a neighbor's porch. Love after loss doesn't replace what came before. It honors it. It sits beside it. It makes room for both the memories and the new moments. And sometimes the gentlest, most beautiful love comes when you finally stop looking for it and just start showing up for life again. If you're still with me, I want to ask you something. Have you ever found love again after thinking it was gone forever? Or maybe you're still waiting and wondering if it's even possible? Tell me in the comments. Share your story, even if it's only a sentence or two, because somewhere out there, someone is watching this video tonight feeling exactly the way Maggie felt in those quiet years. And your words might be the little bit of hope they need to keep going. That's what these stories are for, not just to entertain, but to remind each other that we're never truly alone in this. Thank you for sitting here with me today. Thank you for letting me tell Maggie's story. If it touched even one corner of your heart, do an old lady a favor and give this video a gentle thumbs up. It helps other folks who need to hear it find their way here. And if you're new around here, welcome to Golden Hearts Horizons. We talk about the real stuff, the love that lasts, the love that returns, and the love that teaches us we are never too old to begin again. Take care of that beautiful heart of yours. Be gentle with it. And remember, it's never, ever too late for a new beginning. I'll see you in the next story, dear friend. God bless.